Welcome into the Duval Dive Live. Of course, I am Kyle Nash, the student of the game of Fans First Sports Network.
And I'm Travis Holmes with BigCatCountry.com.
And we're doing this thing on the Believe Podcast Network. Travis, I know you're on location at EverBank Stadium, but I have to jump in real quick before we get you going. You have all the stuff from post-game and all that, and we'll talk about that momentarily. And certainly the 17-10 victory over the Houston Texans by the Jacksonville Jaguars. But we have some breaking news. The local Jaguars are in a great mood there at EverBank, and it happens to be in relation to the victory. I just wanted to share the related story where at EverBank, where, listen, I know it was a cardiac moment. There had to have been plenty of where things were less than happy for any members of the Duval Devout. I have comments racing in already. Don't worry, Radius Carlos, we'll get to you, and more will be coming there too. I'll lead with this one, though. I think a Duval is appropriate here for this particular podcast. But
yeah,
with this victory being secured, I want to start asking you this question: how big a deal is the dub for the Jags thus far? I know it's still early in the season, but what's the impact this could have?
Man, I don't want to say it's like it's everything, because I don't want to pretend like I ever thought that it was a must-win game for the Jaguars or something along those lines. But it's a very important win. Like, we can be clear in saying that. Like, let's call a spade a spade. The Texans lost Derek Stingley. They lost C.J. Gardner-Johnson at one point. You have to win the games that you should win. And had they lost this game, I would have looked at them a little bit side-eye. Like, I can honestly say that. So the fact of the matter is they won this game after just having a week where they lost the game where I think we all are in agreement that they should have won.
Yeah.
They didn't fumble the bag. They capitalized. This defense balled out of their freaking minds, and they won. So they deserve all the credit for that and everything that comes along with it. Those boys are 2-0 at EverBank Stadium, and they have made EverBank great again. Like, the fact of the matter is the Jacksonville Jaguars are 2-0 at home, and they've beaten the Houston Texans for the first time at EverBank Stadium since 2017. I ain't trying to say we back, but I'm trying to say it feels backish. You know what I mean? Like, it feels good in that way.
Of course, too. I think it's huge that the next edition of Mega Make EverBank Great Again. I think that's important. You referenced it. I had actually just re-listened to it yesterday on the way to covering UCF beating Bill Belichick in the North Carolina Tar Heels with the Black and Gold Banneret in the Night Shift podcast. But I remember you talking about this environment, this win being big in that they didn't have to go to Africa or England to get the vibes clear. I love the Chappelle comparison, by the way. Make sure you check that out if you listen to the episode. That aspect that this home field matters again, absolutely huge. And by the way, you reference it in the thumbnail that you built for this episode, but I'm going to go full Killmonger from Black Panther on this. Hey, Texans fans, all the crap me, Travis D. Holmes, and guest Jordan DeLugo got insinuating that Trevor and CJ Stroud are the same guy. Is this your king? The guy that threw 2 interceptions, that only has a score on Tyson Campbell screwing up again, that only had a field goal in the first half because the officials don't know their own rule book? Is this your king? And let me get into this official things too, by the way. I know I'm hijacking this show as you're standing there in EverBank, but we need to have a conversation. If we're going to talk about Juwan Taylor jumping off sides with the Chiefs, Nico Collins leading with the crown of the helmet to be a battering ram, which is specifically in the rules as something you're not supposed to do in a world where we're alleged to care about player safety. We need to pay attention to this. First of all, Jordan Lewis gets called for a helmet-to-helmet after one of the most ticky-tack after the play hit out of bounds calls I've ever seen. Eric Murray touches a guy and keeps the Texans from getting a 1st and 20, where they were 0-3 on third down at that point, Travis, by the way. Then, I think it's 2 plays later, but during the same drive, this helmet-to-helmet call is made, which it was a helmet-to-helmet hit, but because Nico Collins leads with his helmet And I'm saying it as a trend because he did it again in that game. Travis, that crucial fumble that Nico Collins had, I think was in part because he was leading with his head, took a head shot, and lost himself for a minute. And Tyson Campbell took advantage to repent for the previous sin of giving up that long ball on the coverage. And I remind everybody here among you Duval divers, I am not a member of the Duval Devout, but I get angry about bad football and trash and people who get paid to do a bad job. Just like Emmanuel Acho gets me mad, these NFL officials got me mad today, Travis Holmes.
I mean, I will be honest with you. I'm not that guy for when we talk about bad calls from officials. I'm generally not that guy, just because of the background of, the coaching and everything else. Like, I'm not going to generally be that guy.
Yeah.
But if I'm mad about any calls, I'm mad about last week. Like, I think the Jacksonville Jaguars right now should be 3-0. Like, I think that's not a crazy statement, but the fact that they aren't, it's just like, all right, cool. But if you're talking about an offensive player lowering a helmet, all right, it is what it is.
Well,
like, it happens.
We're about player safety and how this is supposed to be a thing, right?
I know, but I don't care. We all know that's BS. Come on.
You as the defensive back in the room, by the way, dealing with the team that had put Trevor Lawrence out in the past on a player.
Yeah, I love how chippy it was today. That was great.
I mean, listen, I don't feel like the Jaguars were the dirtier team. But they won.
I mean, today, I'm not going to necessarily say that there was a dirty team. I didn't see a lot of dirty plays today. Like, I know there's the history.
Dude jetting in to get to the Jaguars sideline to hit somebody in the back in that fray and that fracas.
I mean, that's football, man. That's going to happen if you don't like somebody. And the fact of the matter is we don't like them. They don't like us. I mean, that's football, man. Come on.
But go into it. Listen, and this is the difference between an offensive lineman's perspective and a defensive back's perspective. Like, you running up to take a shot at somebody in the back, cool. I don't do that. We do battle face to face in my part of the house, which I'm
a former boxer. What are we talking about? I like punching people in the face. I don't like getting hit.
Good God. You keep pulling out more tricks from your bag, Travis. I don't know if did any of you Duval divers know he was a boxer? This is crazy. It also
I know Jason does. I boxed for 3 years at PAL. Like, come on. I mean, hell, I went to University of Northern Michigan with the Olympic boxing team practice, and I sparred with them. Come on, bro. What are we talking about?
See, now I know why you threw those good blocks in our flag league together. But anyways,
no, bro. Like, no, this is everything. So, like, the Jacksonville Jaguars played they played a great defensive game. Yes. Like, if you take away that one blown coverage from Tyson Campbell getting beat on and out and up by Nico Collins and zero coverage. I thought it was cover one, but the Coach Cohen at the end of his presser said it was zero coverage, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Man on man coverage, you got beat by out and up. You can't let that happen. Unfortunately, it is what it is.
You thought that was that convincing and out? I didn't.
It's Nico Collins, and you maybe be overplaying stuff in your head, like you've seen the tape and you just know what he's going to do, because Nico generally comes off the line a little bit slower. And on a lot of his routes, because he knows guys are going to give him that respect on those underneath ones. So I can understand how a guy might have like overplayed that in his mind and was just, trying to make a play at a key time, thinking he's going to get an interception and ends up getting beat for a touchdown. Because
what if I said I agree with half of that, and I think that he was obviously going for an interception. Like it kind of felt like at that point that the Texans were in trouble, and they were down 10-3. At that point, and only had 3 points because of Nico Collins lowering his head and getting away with it and endangering Jordan Lewis. But it's going to be, listen, man, just like Damar Hamlin and Joe Flacco, that's going to be a thing for me. That cheeses me off. But I'm the problem here. It's cool. But what if I insinuated that Tyson Campbell was licking his chops because it was C.J. Stroud at quarterback? Is this
100%? CJ was struggling so bad today. Like, I don't think that's an understatement at all. Like, the only concern that I had wasn't about Nico this game. It was about whether or not Christian Kirk was going to come out and give them that out for those hots. Basically, when he saw the blitz coming, when CJ saw the blitz coming, that he'd get the ball out of his hand early to Christian Kirk and make Jacksonville pay. And to be clear, he almost did. That overthrow to Christian Kirk in the end zone, Kirk was open by about 3-4 yards. He overthrew him. I'm just being real about that. Like, that would have been a tie game. But Stroud couldn't make the catch, and the Jacksonville they win the day. Like that kind of is what it is. CJ's been struggling.
I'm glad you brought that up, because I know if this were last year and that were able to happen and Kirk didn't get his collarbone injury and all that, and that similar play happens, it's not, oh, this O-line is so bad. It's Trevor missed another one. Okay. That's the topic we've been broaching for a while in this situation.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, you want to talk about Trevor missing another one? Can we talk about Trevor missing another one?
All right, go ahead.
Because Jesus,
you're not wrong.
It wasn't a good day for Trevor. I can't BS you. Like, and I think everyone's talking around it. I mean, even in the post-game media availability, everybody kind of talked around it in a lighter way because they came away with the W, and no one wants to kind of ruin the moment talking about what's an obvious elephant in the room. I think every single person in both medias, both Houston and Jacksonville, kind of all have the same thought process. Like, ooh, Trev, this wasn't it. And I'm going to be real honest about that. Like, I'm not trying to say this as making a big deal out of it and ruin anyone's day, but you all saw the game that I saw. We all saw this matchup. We all saw the missed throws. We all saw the incompletions. And yes, we did also see the drops, but the drops cannot overshadow the misses from the quarterback position, because that is a real conversation that sort of is building and needs to be had, but also saying the drops are a problem on their own. Like, both things are true. Both things are problematic right now.
Both things are true. And I think the criticism of any quarterback is always going to be magnified because he's the guy most important. But I have to say this. I think it's lower hanging fruit that Trevor will get better throughout the year as he masters this offense just a bit more and gets his confidence. But BTJ,
that's a bigger one.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a bigger one.
It's that situation where he had those two very obvious drops. You know, Trevor missing throws, schmissing throws, right in the hands for both. Then he comes out trying to act like he's run blocking on what looked like a screenplay call. I can't confirm that or deny it. I'm not there on the sideline. But that is a mental issue. And then what I saw happen like that in my head is it started to creep into other guys' heads, because immediately after, Parker Washington has two drops, Travis Etienne has a drop, and it got contagious. And that is a problem.
I agree that the drops were a problem, and they've been a problem all year. I agree that penalties are a problem, because they had 9 penalties in this game. Yes. And there were a lot of different ones, including a ticky-tack illegal shift penalty, honestly.
I thought that was a terrible call, too.
But yeah, I thought it was a really bad call by the refs. But it's obvious that the NFL has been paying close attention to it. The referees told us in the preseason that it was a mandate from the league that they were paying attention to it. Like, guys going upfield like this is Canadian football, because of the Miami Dolphins, basically. And now people are kind of watching it very closely, people being the refs. But now we are talking about multiple third down plays where Brian Thomas Jr., your wide receiver number 1, is not on the field because Parker Washington Jr. capitalized last week, and they wanted to give him more opportunities in these high leverage situations. And Coach Cohen talked about it at the end of his presser, saying it, and I'm like, ooh, it was at least 2, if not 3, third down conversion situations where Brian Thomas Jr. is on the sideline and they don't convert, and that's a problem. That's a huge conversation when your number 1 receiver is not on the field for Parker Washington, for Tim Patrick. And that's not to demean those guys. They're just not supposed to be your number 1 guy. Like, that's obviously not it.
It feels like they're trying to replace BTJ in the aggregate on those third downs. It's very interesting. I hear what you're saying.
But Trevor Lawrence is one of the top quarterbacks in the league this season. In the first 2 weeks before this game, when he's not throwing to Brian Thomas Jr. or Travis Hunter. It's the craziest stat that I've ever seen in this 2025 season so far. He had like 140 quarterback rating when he was throwing to anybody else but those 2 guys. And I'm like, well, do the coaches notice this? And are they just saying, all right, cool, let's put some other guys on the field and let's see what happens. Let's test this theory. I don't know, but it's crazy though.
Well, and I'll say this, and part of it, let's give the Texans a little bit of credit too. I mean, as much as I'm criticizing C.J. Stroud, in my opinion, rightly so. That defense is good, man. We had pointed out that we had thought that this would be a
Sure.
low-scoring game. You know, I remember going absolutely nuts that Daniel Jeremiah thought that this would be a 55-point total score, and these two
Man,
teams combined for what the losing team in the Texans had in his prediction. They combined for that
was
7 point.
was this game close because the Texans defense was good, or was this game close because the Jacksonville Jaguars offense was one unable to throw the ball when they were they unable to throw the ball in situations where they obviously needed to and had guys open, or were they unable to run the ball against those 5-man fronts? Like they showed that early on, they just weren't able to. Well, they weren't able to run the ball because they were showing them 5-man defensive linemen on first down, second down running scenarios. So like, I didn't think that this was a game that the Jaguars struggled offensively because the Houston Texans defense was just so good. I just think they weren't able to run on first down for the first time this season because this was the first team that actually stacked boxes against them. And they couldn't run up against that box, so they had to pass early, and Trevor Lawrence was just off.
I find it interesting.
That was it.
I find it interesting that as hard as you've been pounding the table throughout the offseason of questions of Robert Hainsey and his style of center that he plays, that you are not even bringing up how much trouble he had with Sheldon Rankins at the opening of the game, interior-wise. I think that's one element. That's one thing that the Texans were the most stout team in the middle they played so far. And Hainsey, I'm not going to say exposed, but it was certainly not his best game. I think there are elements that you're saying about the Jags struggling too. I think there are elements of you pointed out as well that this is a good secondary. Even when Stingley's hurt, they still cover relatively well. This linebacker core, as well as much as I feel ways about Al-Shaair, listen, he did a good job today. He put a big hit on De'Ami Brown. That's the reason why he left the game with that shoulder, and it wasn't dirty. It was just a good read and a quality tackle, which, by the way, we saw from the Jags crushing screens. They opened their first 3 defensive drives with a tackle for loss in each one, including a sack, I think, by Trayvon Walker in that particular instance. But I think there's elements of all of it, and I'm not here to say that the Texans are a world-beating team, but I don't think it's a conversation that this is the best defense they faced so far, and that was part of the struggle.
I agree that this is the best defense that they faced to date. I can also agree that that defense wasn't the reason that the Jacksonville Jaguars only had 17 points today. I think the Jacksonville Jaguars probably could have had 24 to 27 today easily from the plays on the field, simply because they just weren't capitalizing, they just weren't executing, and that's where this is a little weird. Like
this is where I'm going to, because you're right. I think we're both right, and it also depends on what portion of the game we're talking about, right? You say it's the reason. Oh, go ahead.
Well, no. They struggled to run in the first half because they weren't able to get any of the gap schemes going. They weren't able to run in the middle, to your original point, how Hainsey kind of struggled with Sheldon Rankins and early on. So then they started getting into the outside zone kind of conversations with Bashaw Tootin in the second half, and they end up popping a few. They end up getting 75 of their 86 yards rushing in the second half, because they started doing something a little. They switched from the man gap into outside zone, and I'm like, all right, cool. They found something that works. They just gonna have to run away from those monsters in the middle for the moment and kind of keep it moving in that way. That helped the offense tremendously. Right. But the passing game was still a big albatross hanging around their neck because they just couldn't get it going.
That's why I think I want to take what you said and kind of split it. You said it's you feel like the Jags could have had 24 points in the game, and I agree with that. I feel like they could have had 17 points in the first half if they could get the ball going. And what stopped that conversation was the Texans doing their part up front. To your point, listen, there were multiple gunshot wounds to the metatarsals with them shooting themselves in the front foot. I get you on that, 100%. And that's where
and earlier on, you did have a complaint about the officials, and I said I'm not generally that guy. And I realized I wasn't telling the full truth in that situation, because I did have one complaint on 3 different screenplays for the Jaguars where the Texans basically just tackled the player. Like they tackled Bashaw Tootin once, they tackled Hunter Long once, but didn't tackle him, but just basically hugged him around his waist. And the referees didn't call like interference or anything else. They just kept doing it until the refs was going to call it, and the refs never called it. And I hope people look for that on their all 22 watch, and I think you'll see it. So I was like, dude, this is crazy. They're never going to be able to run a screen if they just whenever they play action, they just kind of hug the guys. So I thought that was weird for the refs, and I'll kind of say that was probably bad calls overall.
So all right, but yeah, we've been leaving these comments delinquent. Let's get into some of these.
Cool.
Let's see. Carlos Reyes gives in. What a win! Ugly, but a win. I think we expected, maybe not quite this ugly, but I think we expected a somewhat ugly game per se, perhaps.
I mean, yeah, it's the Texans.
Yeah, no, Radius mentioned so many drops. I think we've been over that.
So many drops.
We're going to be without Diami for a while. That we're not sure of. I'm not sure how bad. I mean, we do know it's a shoulder injury. Is it a stinger, or is it full dislocation, or is there something else going on? We'll need more time.
I've had a stinger a few times and played the next week. That's not a crazy thing.
I like Jarvis coming in full petty. Man, I don't like the Texans. The defense made my entire week.
In the words of Josh Hines Allen, we don't like these.
So
please.
Here comes the half again. This Travis Hunter receiver hate is next level for my guy. Please stop the experiment. Hunter needs to play defense only. Now, here's where I'll side with half. I'm on record in the preseason saying that I was more impressed in college with Travis Hunter's corner play than his receiver play. Not that I'm saying his receiver play is bad. I like him as a corner better personally. I'm not quite as invested as half. What were you about to say, Travis?
I don't understand this passion or this quickness that everybody kind of has to just make him one or the other. I don't understand, y'all.
Yeah.
Because they drafted him to be a two-way player. And even if he's going to be this top cornerback and also be this, I don't know, middle tier, 30th wide receiver in the league, there is still a benefit in having that. Why are y'all so passionate about making sure he's a one-sided player, which is that opposite of the reason that they drafted him? Like, at least I think you'd say he's going to be an average player after he develops and gets all the whole offense under his belt. I don't think that's much of a question. So calm down. We're 3 games into this man's career, and he hasn't even learned to play all the receiver roles yet. Like, they're primarily putting him into the slot, and he had a great 21-yard catch and run today.
Move. Yeah.
Like, what are we doing?
Anyway, I just wanted to see what you thought about it. Going through, see, Radius sees what I see with Nico Collins. Damn flipping right, preach, Kyle. Hey, listen, I need that kind of validation in my life. Collins also led with his helmet into Dewey's face mask too. Yeah, that was the fumble I was telling you about, I believe.
Yeah.
Mark Moon says,
and poor Cam Little misses his first field goal, man. Dang.
We'll get into that a little bit later. I have a theory on that. Nico will get fined, and Texans fans will complain. I don't think he's going to get fined, Mark.
Neither do I.
I don't think they're drawing any attention to it. They're too worried about illegal shifts to care about player safety. Anyways, I said what I said, Travis. You just want the game to be efficient evenly between offense and defense. Can't have leading with the helmet, only flagged against defensive players. That's accurate, and that's what I'm alluding to. Yeah, see, I knew I'd win you over at some point with that, Travis.
It's fine. It's fine. It's good. It was, again, I'm not that guy, but I understand your general point, especially with the whole player safety thing. I just always think the player safety thing is actually BS from the NFL, and I think we all kind of do on some level.
That's a deeper conversation that could be an entire podcast in itself. I'll leave it at that. There are certainly kernels of truth, to say the least, in what you say.
But when I said earlier on that the Jaguars could have just dominated this game because it's the half and it was 7-3, and in my head I'm like, there's no reason this game should not be 17-3 or even 20-3 at that point. And that's where the frustration comes in, because you just knew the longer this game stayed close, the higher the chance that the Jaguars could end up blowing it later, or it comes down to one game, to one play. And that's what you never wanted. So that's why I was just like, y'all got to get this right. Stop messing this up, because you're allowing them those openings to win the game on some nonsense.
Well, and I think it all started with this, right? You mentioned Cam Little. I wanted to get your opinion of something. And towards the end of the first half, obviously the Jags are going to get the ball back because they're receiving in the third quarter, right? Coaching staff knows this. I think it was 11 or 12 seconds on the clock at the time to close the first half. The ball it's going to be a 50 or 60 yarder if they get Cam Little out there. So on third down with 12 or so whatever seconds left and one time out, you throw the ball.
Throwing the ball wasn't my issue. It was the throw that they threw. Like, that was the deep ball to De'Ami Brown, right? Like, it was an incompletion on second down, and then on third down it was
I don't remember the target or who it was or the actual play thrown. Those are all good points by you. I was too livid by saying, just run the damn thing. And at that point, he hadn't missed a kick yet. This is still, I hit it from 70 in the preseason and Canton gave me a call, even though I don't technically have a record mentality. Why?
I'm just like, I knew Jacksonville was 3 yards from field goal range at the half. And it was like 3rd and 2, something along those lines, and they just couldn't get to give Cam Little, like, technically speaking, they could have attempted like the 71-yarder or 72-yarder, whatever it would have been. But then if you missed that, you were giving Houston the ball literally in field goal range from that point, and you can't do that.
You had third down and 12 seconds on the clock. Run it, let the clock tick down, and then call a timeout.
Oh, that's what you're saying. Ooh, and then you can just go try the 71-yard or whatever else. Damn.
Tell me you wouldn't want to see that.
I didn't think about it. I mean, Houston, if they stop you, they still have a timeout and you're still punting. Okay. So there's the give and take.
Well, that's the thing. So if they stop you, I don't know. Do you think the Texans would have done anything to stop? I don't know. I don't know that
I think they would have called a timeout to make you punt the ball, to try to get a punt block or something like that, because their special teams has actually been good in 2025. The Texans, their offense has been just terrible, but their special teams has been good.
Hey, don't you say that about their king. Anyways, PJ Brown mentions, I love Travis playing way more defense. Yeah, he's gotten a lot more snaps lately. We told you that was going to happen.
Yeah, but he was better. But he was better at defense anyways. We knew that walking into this. Like, he was going to be more established and he needed less practice on defense. We knew that early on. That's why they were practicing him so much on offense, even in training camp and OTAs. So this is not new information. I know we should love him more on defense because that's why he was more evolved. He's going to need more time at receiver before folks can start going crazy. The only reason y'all are losing it right now is because of the fantasy football community. Let's be honest.
Get over yourself, guys. Yeah, I could have told you all that. If he was your receiver one in your fantasy team, you're the problem just because you thought he was going to play special teams.
Yeah, it sounded like you messed up.
So, yeah. Radius mentions 3 receptions on 8 targets from one Christian Kirk in his NFL debut, which you correctly predicted was going to be today. 25 yards total, though, like you said, he had the opportunity to win the damn football game, but you king there in Houston.
CJ Strouded it. And I heard the Houston media, and I rode the elevator with a few guys from the Houston media, like 5 guys, and they were like, be careful not to mention regression, but he's definitely struggling. And I'm just like, no, y'all need to be mentioning it. It's regression. It's obviously regression.
Why would they protect him from that, Travis? I don't understand.
I thought it was interesting. I don't know these guys personally, but I thought it was very interesting after apparently they interviewed him directly.
Names. You just observing him.
Right, I'm not naming names. This is random fill in the blank Houston media. Cool.
Say, but when you drop greater than 10-yard completions on first and second down, and it leads to an interception on third down, help a brother out. Yeah, I like you dropped that comment. Trevor threw a pick, terrible throw, 1,000,000,000% right. That's not the throw I'm most frustrated with. I'm with you that some of the wide opens that he missed are a bigger problem. But that's why that interception happened. Right in the hands on on first down, you drop it. Right in your hands on the screen pass, another drop. Trevor's desperate to force a play. Now, does a quarterback?
But no one gives a. I almost cursed, but
I was going to get there. Go ahead.
Every play needs to end with a kick. If every play ends with the kick, at worst case scenario, you are Trent Dilfer. You are the average prototypical quarterback. And folks, you've heard so many coaches say this, like if every single drive in a kick and all you getting is 3 points on half of these series and punts on the rest of them, if you have an average defense, you're going to do well. The Jacksonville Jaguars even today would have done so well if they would have just punted the ball on those situations where Trevor Lawrence is trying to force these things. You don't have to be Superman with this team. They're now 2-1 in games where Trevor Lawrence doesn't have an 80 quarterback rating, passer rating in this 2025 season, which is just that's crazy because it's the best he's had in his NFL career. You don't have to be Superman. So we can't keep having this same conversation where Trevor's forcing things because he's forcing things because, well, fucking stop forcing things.
Okay. By the way, I'll be clear about this. Everything you say is correct, and I agree with you in its entirety. But what I'm saying, in the heat of battle, when the bullets are flying and this keeps happening, this is how you get those interceptions. Now, does Trevor need to overcome that? Of course. All I'm saying is causality is a thing. That's all I'm pointing.
Causality is a thing, but no one cares about the calls when the game's on the line and the ball's in your hand and you didn't get it done. No one cares how you got there. They care the fact that you didn't get it done and you had the opportunity to. We have enough of these conversations talking about why things didn't get done. We've given Trevor Lawrence enough passes. I'm being real about this. I can't speak for the national media, but I'm talking about the local media. We've analyzed this boy up and down and gave him all the grace that we possibly could in talking about the issues that he might have had surrounding him. This staff is not the previous staff. This roster is not the previous roster. They still have issues with drops, absolutely. But Trevor Lawrence has got to play better in and of himself. He has to play better. And if he doesn't, I can't give him all the other passes and saying that, all right, the other guys aren't perfect. Yeah, this ain't Blake Bortles, though. Raise up.
You aren't alone in that sentiment. I'm merely explaining why the interception is less frustrating than just the open balls missed.
Nah, that was the most frustrating. That was the most frustrating play I saw in the game was that Trevor Lawrence interception. Honestly, this is a game where any game manager wins that game for the Jacksonville Jaguars offense. Any game manager. I don't care if it's Matt Jones. If you don't turn the ball over and you turn the ball over throwing into double coverage, the guy who intercepted it doesn't intercept it. The other guy is, because both of those guys were there with the opportunity to make a play on the ball. You can't make that throw.
So you're saying it's that bad a decision?
Yes.
Okay. No, I'm
10 times out of 10.
I'm just summarizing your point, dude. That's all. You're good. Hey, no one's saying I disagree with you. I feel like we're coming at it from two different directions, and we're just frustrated about two different things. The last thing I know this has done.
It was one of those throws that made me question the conversation we had with Tyler Dragon and Aaron Costello on the Rams podcast before the season when we talked about the Jared Goff Matt Stafford trade. Like it was one of those decisions that it had my head on the table. Like, bro,
the yellow ball, as you call it.
Yes.
Got you. Okay. An interesting point we haven't brought up yet. Radius points out 11 targets for Parker Washington. I didn't catch it was that many.
I didn't know it was that many either. But they said they wanted to give him reps. They knew walking into the week they wanted to give him reps, and they did. Penalties
and drops, keeping the game close. PJ, I don't think there's any argument there.
Nope. Can we talk about that defense and give them their credit? They need their flowers.
I was about to say, let those grow. I'll look through the comments and catch up while you're talking about that. Because I'll tell you, for me, I called for Eric Armstead. I got me some Eric Armstead. Listen, you know what? I'm gonna bring up some of the stuff in the game, right? The thing we won the turnover battle, right? We saw that from the Jags. Makes crowd see ghosts. Sure. Keep Trevor
Yeah.
clean. Generally speaking, I don't think it was great, but to Trevor's credit, something he did do well, certainly better than CJ, is that there were moments of weakness up front and the Texans flexed their muscle. He did get the ball out quick a lot, and I think there was plenty of times where he made the right decision and either got the completion. By the way, Brenton Strange, once again, player of the week on offense. I said what I said.
Every time you throw to Brenton Strange, he catches the ball, he gets a first down. I don't even know what his success rate is, but I guarantee it was over 70% in this game already. Because whenever you go to Brenton Strange, good things happen. So go to him more often.
I mean, he got a false start call, but that's the only thing that happened today that was even remotely strange.
Did Strange get one?
Yes, he did.
I thought Walker Little and Munt got one.
There was two on the tight ends.
I gotta look at that because I was pretty. I'll check my Big Cat Country article to confirm because I did write up all of the penalties and you
can dunk on me on the stream and make it fun for everybody. Go full petty. Who will love that? It'll be great.
No, we got two hard. No, you're right. Two false starts, Strange and Munt.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, dude, you got it. But 9 penalties ain't gonna get it done, man.
Facts. Let's see. Yeah, well, and I listen, like I said, I asked for I asked for Eric Armstead. I got Eric Armstead. But let's touch on Josh Hines-Allen for a minute. But he only got half a sack. Why is he important? That rookie got abused, Travis D. Holmes.
Yep.
I counted at least 3 holding calls and illegal hands to the face, and one of them was bull rushed into CJ Stroud's feet. Please tell me why Josh Hines-Allen does not get credited for a sack on that.
I don't know why he's not credited for a sack, but yeah, to your point, he gave them fits. He got 2 penalties accepted, 1 penalty declined. He forced an interception on a quarterback hit to end the game. He gets the half sack. He had another pressure. 3 quarterback hits overall. It's a great, dominant game for Josh Hines-Allen. I'm mad that he didn't get the sack record this game, but you got the W, and that's probably a little bit better. And he'll see it. He'll get the sack record later.
Winter is coming, please. Okay.
Yeah.
I see a world where he breaks the sack record against the Chiefs. I think that'd be pretty cool.
Ooh, right? Pat Mahomes.
You know that would be fun. Okay. I'm just throwing it out.
That would be fun.
I got the sack record on Patrick LaVon Mahomes II. That's funny. That's all I'm saying.
We are entering a world now where we have to start asking the question of what's going on with Brian Thomas. I don't know what to do about that. I don't know what to say about that. I don't even know what to call it. Again, when you have guys who are your wide receiver 4 to start the season and guys who are your wide receiver 5 in Tim Patrick are playing over that guy on multiple money downs. I don't know what to do with that because he looks unplayable on some occasions.
So yeah, I'll add that. Robert Kind adds in Richard Sherman was going after Trevor, but not a peep about Stroud when he made mistakes. Robert, listen, I appreciate you confirming that the press is still box score watching and not watching the game. I guarantee, with all due respect to Richard Sherman, he's a smart human. I met him personally. He was my first video interview back in 2014 at the NFLPA meetings. But that dude does not watch Jacksonville Jaguar games. There's
not at all.
So, with all due respect, no.
Shout out to Jordan Lewis, who nearly this close, a fingertip from having a second INT this game, having nearly a one-handed interception that would have ended the game on that final drive when they were targeting Christian Kirk, actually, down the seam. But he ends up getting the interception. He gets the tackle for a loss, 4 tackles, 3 solo, 2 passes defense. That dude's so damn good. I'm glad
you mentioned the passes defended, and I'm going to correct you on that every time you try to bring defense in this house because my dad used to write for the AP. I can't allow that. What I'm saying is this, though. For me, Jordan Lewis, once again, well, I don't know if it was once again, but Jordan Lewis is the defensive player of the game. I know the guys up front did their job. I know Josh Hines-Allen abused a rookie. Cool. But Jordan Lewis being everywhere on the field, impacting multiple facets of the game, the ground game in the form of crushing screens, those interceptions, just everywhere, dude. 100%.
Right. He pressured CJ Stroud on one of his early incompletions on third down, and I was like, oh yeah, that was a great time cornerback blitz because he wasn't even in the slot. It was from the outside corner, from the boundary, and I was like, all right, that's good. And then he ends up getting the pick later in the game, and I'm just like, hey man, he is balling, and then he nearly gets the one-handed pick, and I'm just like, that dude's a dog. If you're questioning why Jordan Lewis was named a captain on this team, even while being a recent free agent, you probably shouldn't be questioning it anymore. Like, I think it's very clear.
You know, I remember getting harassed for my position tiers in the offseason by you and friend of the show, Jamal St. Cyr of News 4 Jags, and having the corners among the top 3 position groups on the team. I would like my apology now.
I mean, maybe, but then I still got questions on the other corner, the other starter in Tyson Campbell. So, I mean, maybe we'll see.
I mean, as a core, you got Travis Hunter. We didn't hear Jarian Jones's name much, obviously.
I didn't see Jarian Jones much. I'm gonna check the stats, check the snaps, but I didn't see him a lot.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, he might still be banged up. Storm the Desert comes in the comments. Stroud is in the exact same trajectory as Trevor was. One good year, then struggled ever since. One plays in Houston, the other in Jacksonville. That's the difference in the media.
I love being right. Because I've been saying this from a rooftop for 2 years, and people just refuse to hear me because they give a rookie the benefit of a doubt. And I'm just like, nah, man. If he was white and the other one was black, y'all would be like, yeah, you're probably right. Like, I think this is what it comes down to. Like, they just give rookies more of a pass. But I'm like, hey, man, forget all that. What does the film show me? The film shows me that one guy has a better coach and had a better supporting cast. And as soon as that other quarterback in Houston lost a lot of that supporting cast up front, it was, just this much of the O-line. It became like, oh, that's what the problem in Jacksonville is. Now I have empathy for them. No, they don't. But you know what I mean? Like,
which, by the way, if somebody at any point in Houston can explain to me the Laramie Tunsil trade or removal, whatever you want to call it, I'm glad to listen.
Never got it.
So yeah,
never got it.
I don't know.
And it was awesome for Antonio Johnson to be the person to get that last pick, because I know he's been. Yeah, like the fact that it was just him, it was just like, that's awesome. Because the fact of the matter is, Eric Murray at one point had to leave the game, and I was actually concerned that he might not come back after it was helmet to helmet. I was questioning whether or not it was going to be like a concussion type situation or whatever else. And then he comes back, and then they play that 3 safety look, and it's Antonio Johnson there, and he gets the interception, and that's great for him, man.
Yeah, no. When we were talking about the interception by Trevor, and you were on your soapbox, rightly so. I'm going through the comments there of what people were talking about. For me, we mentioned you have Jordan Lewis as your defensive player of the game. Brenton Strange, for me, 2 for 3 offensive player of the game. We mentioned, isn't it weird? You mentioned Cam Little missing his first kick. What's weird about it? It's after he made one that it took place, right? So he makes the kick, the leverage penalty is called, drive extends, and then he misses the next one.
No. That's not the one he missed, was it? No. He made the 30-something yarder one after the 50-something yarder one. I thought he missed a different one.
I might have that out of order then too. I don't know.
I thought the offense.
This is why these instant reactions are hard.
Because that was the third quarter. The offense was unable to pick up a first down, resulting in a 39-yard Cam Little field goal 3 plays later.
It's not.
Yeah, I'm looking at the notes now.
He missed it. It was really close, actually, when he made it.
That's true. He missed the 47-yarder on the following series. That was his first miss of the season. It was the end of the third quarter. That whole series you were talking about happened earlier in the third quarter.
Yeah, it was. I got those. I got the close kick and the miss. That's what I did. So yeah, there we go.
Yeah, but
and the comments are all over it here. Radius and Robert both coming in and let me know I got it wrong. Perfect. I like that. I want to point this out too. I'm glad. You reminded me. Devin Lloyd has been bringing.
Bald. Trevin Lloyd bald. And it's so fun to me because it's like I didn't know what to expect of Devin Lloyd. I would be clear in saying that. Like I wasn't sure of what we were going to get out of him, and they didn't pick up his fifth-year option, and I think they weren't necessarily sure what they were going to get out of him in this defense, whether he was going to be lining up in the right places and making plays and such. And nah, man, he balled. He did great. He had the fumble recovery. He had a pressure that became a sack. I forgot whose sack that was. He ended up getting a pressure on like that on quarterback's feet, and I think that might have been on the Hines Allen one with Armstead.
Yeah. Sounds right.
And then he ends up the fumble recovery. And he was flying on the field a lot as far as his passing plays, as far as those concerned. So I'm like, yeah, he had a very solid game, and I'm probably missing the play here or there.
But let me close with this too, because you had mentioned BTJ, and obviously we've talked about his struggles. That went from being an off week to now it's a storyline. That's an issue. However, 46-yarder to help close the game out on offense to get that go-ahead score. Is that going to be enough? Is that possible?
Is there going to be enough?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're going to have to get to a point where the Jacksonville Jaguars run game is so good that they keep putting those extra guys in the box and leaving Brian Thomas Jr. one-on-one with guys, and then just allow him to just eat on that man-on-man coverage or on that cover three, those three high safety kind of situations. Then that's good. That'll be good for the Jacksonville Jaguars, and that'll be good for Brian Thomas Jr. But in the meantime, we will kind of see, because a lot of teams may not necessarily play them that way, especially if you have a dominant defensive front, where you don't have to bring in that extra guy in the box. So it's going to really depend. But this is the first time that we've seen in 2025 the Jacksonville Jaguars face a team that says, okay, beat me versus the pass. I'm going to give you 8 guys in the box every single first down and multiple second down scenarios in this game. And I'm going to force you, Trevor Lawrence, force you, Brian Thomas Jr., force you, this receiving core, to beat me. Do it. And they couldn't early on. Like, that's the concern, if anything, when you play a team like San Francisco coming in, or you play a team like Kansas City coming in, that they'll be just fine playing you with those 3 high looks and doing the exact same game plan. And Jacksonville's going to have to they're going to have to find a way to be successful doing just that.
Yeah, I agree. The biggest element too, and I mentioned it in Robert's comment just a moment ago, they came out Houston with 5-man front stack in the box, like you said. The defense did what the defense did to give the offense time to finally make that big play down the field, where Trevor actually found the receiver and the receiver held on to the ball. So all day. This is still this is trimmings of 2023, right? Where the defense was making plays. They were the top turnover team. Certainly heading into London, they beat the Falcons by turning them over so much and making sure Bijan Robinson didn't beat them that year. All of that. I feel like there's an element of this with this Jacksonville Jaguar team. I don't hear you disagreeing with me on that. So
I don't disagree. I mean, I don't think this is necessarily 2022 because Trevor Lawrence doesn't look like second half Trevor Lawrence yet. But we're also not in the second half of a season. So cool. But I think this defense, it looks very much like 2022 right now. They're very opportunistic as far as turnovers are concerned, and they play enough bend but don't break that I will say this is actually reasonably comparable to the 2022 Jaguars. I hope it's not the 2023 Jaguars because we saw what happened in 2023.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
Well, and I'll say this about this. The good thing about this game and it going the way that it went, playing against DeMeco Ryans and the Houston Texans, they got a taste of what they can and can't get away with heading to San Francisco next week. Yeah. And I think there's the opportunity to make adjustments to make that game turn to 4-0. I'll have to see what happens with the Niners as they conclude with the Cardinals, who they lose, all that, or is it still Mac Jones at quarterback, any of that. But
I think Brock Purdy was the backup today, and if that is the case, then he's likely to kind of play against Jacksonville, from my opinion anyways.
For sure.
I mean, we'll see, though.
I mean, if he's the hot hand and you get the revenge story, how do you say no to that? But we'll talk more about that in the coming week here on the Duval Dive. In the meantime, Let him know where you can be found, Travis D. Holmes.
You can find all my writings covering the Jacksonville Jaguars on BigCatCountry.com. You can find me on all the socials, Travis D. Holmes. And wait. Before you leave, click the like button, click the subscribe button. Help us out. Like I swear it's majorly beneficial to us, and it's nothing to you, but it helps us out tremendously. Like and subscribe, and rate and review us wherever you catch your podcast. Again, for real. If you're still listening, click like, comment, help us out. But yeah, BigCatCountry.com. We check out the post-game review on BigCatCountry.com, and I will have my rewatch article on the site sometime on Monday, probably midday Monday. And yeah, you can see everything that we didn't see up on First Watch from this Houston Texans victory in Duval. But yeah, we made EverBank great again. 2-0 at EverBank Field after struggling for multiple years at home. So, I mean, it's a great time in Duval. Y'all enjoy y'all party and party safe, and let me know where you can be found, sir.
Before I do that, Robert Kemp in the comments hit me right in the feels. YouTube should have a love button. This would get the love button getting. Robert Radius throws an amen. Hey, thank you. Gosh, thank you so much, guys. Of course, I'm Kyle Nash, the student of the game. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky at the SOTG. Check out my work as the student of the game on Facebook as well, on the Fans First Sports Network, as well. You'll catch my writings about your Jacksonville Jaguars as I have my weekly edition of The Good, the Bad, and the Spotty. Check that out. It'll probably be up tonight or tomorrow. Also, check out my work covering the Orlando Magic. Media Day is a week from Monday on the 29th, so I will be there getting all that stuff and seeing this group, what they're hoping to accomplish in the Eastern Conference and the NBA. Also, my work with the Bolt Blitz Uncut. They'll have their instant reaction tonight. Make sure you check that out, as well as my work covering the UCF Knights, the aforementioned team that beat Bill Belichick by a dominant fashion in the Bounce House there. Make sure you check that out, as well as the Night Shift podcast with the instant reaction there. And of course, Monday night we'll record the weekly episode. I do a lot of stuff, Travis D. Holmes. But for my personal champion, Travis D. Holmes, you Duval divers in the comments, plucking my heartstrings with your respect. This is Kyle Nash, student of the game. Until next time, everybody, class dismissed.